Good afternoon, grade 10 to our, I welcome you. Good afternoon to our, what is that? I, I welcome you to another session for public speaking, and hopefully this time our internet connection will be good enough that we will not be interrupted anymore. Before we proceed with the discussion for this afternoon, I just would like to also express first how how happy I am to have received from you your videos for the elevator speeches. Maya hasn't made one yet. Don't worry. Please do the honor. I'd like to request that you do the honors of telling Maya how to do it. Maybe one of you could tell her how it's supposed to go so that she could also submit one. I assure you, yes, I assure you this, they'll be posted on YouTube, on my YouTube channel.
Wag po,
I
sir.
will. Remember the line alike, oh, oh,
Oh, shit.
oh.
Oh, shit.
Would you like to see a video now? Let's have, I think I can share to you one of the videos for a while. Wait, where is it? Where? People, can you see these files? Can you see this part? These are the files that you've sent me. So I had them named after each of you. So I can just click on one now so that you'd hear for yourselves how your classmates did their. Would you like to listen to this person? Do his.
No.
Would you like to listen to this person do his elevator speech? This person,
Yes.
or what
Yes,
about?
sir.
I know. I'd like to click this because this sounded quite interesting. I hope you can also hear. We'll see. Wait, can you hear that? Did you hear that part? Wait, I'll play it again. People, have you seen the video?
No.
Wait, you didn't see anything?
No. Nope.
Okay, for a while. Let's new share. Okay. What about this? Can you see this? Who are you actually seeing right now? You have? Who can you see?
Yona.
Fiona. Okay, let's play it. Let's play it. Where's Fiona? I'd like to see the frame of Fiona. Fiona, I hope it's fine with you that I show to your classmates the elevator speech that you made. I hope it's fine. Okay, let's play it again. Nice one, nice one. Has everybody seen it? Have you all seen the video of Fiona?
No sound, sir.
No sound.
And it
And
was
it's
choppy.
choppy. It's like a stop motion.
Oh, okay. To others, it sounded choppy. Others didn't hear anything. Anyway, that was just probably how do we call it? A trailer of the complete set of videos that will be uploaded. Don't worry, all of your videos will be up. Wait, sorry. Let me change that. I'm not sure if all of your videos are going to be uploaded because there are a few who did not really do an elevator speech. Others did a promotional video. I did not ask you though to do a promotional video. What I asked you to make was a speech presented in an elevator manner. So it's an elevator speech. Others just simply introduce themselves, kind of mentioned what they have, like what are their assets, something like that, like what they have that others don't. It sounds so quite a number of parts in their presentation appeared like a promotional video or if not a marketing video. The goal for the elevator speech was for you to appear casual as though you are conversing with someone in the elevator. Therefore, by the time I upload that video, here's my disclaimer. By the time I upload the video and post the link in our Edmodo class, if you find yourself in the video, that means that you have met the requirement for an elevator speech. If you can't find yourself in that video, that means that what you've done wasn't yet the elevator speech that was supposed to be performed. Or it's possible you're not going to be part of the class video because you probably can't be heard well or that you can't be clearly understood. I mean, it defeats the purpose of having a casual conversation in the elevator. If you cannot be heard by the other person, I mean, it doesn't make sense. I can recall, like for instance, the presentation of Angel as a librarian. I was hoping that it would what if you don't want it upload? What if you don't want it uploaded? Oh, Kiana has asked me, sir, what if you don't want it uploaded, sir? I think Kiana is referring to her. Like, is it in reference to your own video, Kiana? Hello, Kiana. Yeah, okay. This is in reference to Kiana's choice of a video. Actually, I'll still upload it because in the first place, this is your assignment. This is an assignment. And since it is for public speaking, whatever we create in public speaking is meant to be heard by the public or by a greater crowd. One reason that I'll really upload your videos is for the students of the next school year to have an idea of how a good elevator speech is supposed to be done. So let me go back to the to my example with the work of Angel. She projected the role of a librarian and it went so clear. It really came out. I was hoping that others could do the same. There was even a voice that spoke that spoke something, said something at the end of Angel's delivery. And it was the voice of your younger sister, Angel, no? Your younger sister also said bye when you said bye. There was also someone who did some sound effects regarding the elevator bell. Ding! There was someone who placed that in, oh, you don't have to hide your smile, Ishi. There was someone who placed that kind of style. Because this will again give the younger students an idea on how to do an elevator speech. Also, I was hoping that your elevator speeches would come out to be a casual conversation. I did not want it to appear too scripted, meaning that it's as if you are really having a live conversation, a real conversation in that elevator, not one that comes out to be really scripted. Because when I listen to some of the works, it really came out as though the students are memorizing something, while others also managed to really bring out a casual type of conversation. So those who were able to do it, congratulations. To those who were not, then maybe on some of the other public speaking activities that we'll have, you can make up for whatever it is that you have not performed well yet. So now we proceed with our second lesson, which is the manuscript speech. So please get your modules for this one. So you have there a manuscript speech, which I don't know, to some, has been misunderstood to be the easiest speech to deliver. Why would I say that it got misunderstood? Simply put, a manuscript speech is a speech that is going to be read from a copy. It's just going to be read. You're just going to read a speech. But that all the more puts the pressure on this kind of public speaking activity. That since you are just simply reading it, oh yeah, Dane, thank you for reminding me, Dane. Thank you so much for reminding me. Okay, I'll ask the teachers again for the soft copy of the modules. Just because it's going to, because it's going to be read, the requirements for proper reading are all the more highlighted. Facial expressions, vocal inflections and modulation. Just because you are reading from a copy doesn't mean that you'll be so bland with your delivery. When you read from the copy provided to you, it should follow that you are more or less a master of how to properly read a speech. Take note, you do not memorize the speech from the manuscript. I had a student last school year who, from having practiced several times the reading of the manuscript, it appeared as though he already was able to memorize the entire speech. But that's not the goal of a manuscript speech. What we want you to do is to read from a work. What are the situations, by the way, which a manuscript speech is required? For instance, you wanted to attend a particular event. You have been invited as the speaker. However, minutes or an hour before the actual event, you suddenly didn't feel well. You felt like you can't make it to the event. So what you did was, you printed your speech and then you gave it to someone else, and that other person was given the task of reading the speech for you in that event. That comes out as a manuscript speech. Or you've prepared a long speech that is too long, or a speech that is too long to memorize. So you decided to have a manuscript prepared for it. And you had that manuscript delivered in front of the crowd. It's possible that while trying to prepare a speech, you realize, wait, I think I'll ask someone else to deliver it for me. I'm just not ready for this. I'll just not attend. Though I'm feeling well, I think I'll just not attend. I'll just ask someone to deliver it. Or I'm living quite far from this activity, from the venue of this activity. I can't make it. I'll ask someone to deliver it for me. So see, there really are instances where you can't deliver a manuscript speech. Sorry, where the original maker of the speech can't deliver the manuscript. So someone else has to deliver the manuscript speech. We have here a question from Leja. Is it like when we did the storytelling contest last year, sir? What storytelling contest is this, Leja? What storytelling contest?
The one bito in the library, sir. We
Did you
did it
do?
in the library.
Was I already there? Really?
The theme was coming of age.
Did you deliver the story? Like, did you orally present it to us?
Yeah, it was you, Sir Jet, and
Jess.
just the Judges.
Oh, and then you're just reading it?
The one with that graduation gift
What
was
is dramatic reading?
Ah, okay, okay. I remember it now. I remember it now. Okay. What you did then was a storytelling, not a manuscript speech. Because though the processes are the same, you're merely reading from a copy. But the difference, the big difference is a speech is not just any other story that you'll read in front of a particular audience. We are talking about speeches here. But yes, I understand the point of Leisha. The processes are the same. You'll bring a copy and then you'll read it in front of a crowd. It is even suggested that by the time you bring a copy, or by the time you've retrieved a copy of the speech, you print it. It's in the tips found in the notes. You'll print it in a font size that seems comfortable for your reading, so that you can really know, you would really know where you are in the speech, in that manuscript that you are presenting to the people. You are also free to provide marks that would indicate a stop, a pause, or a conjecture of combination of lines, because then again, they will guide you on how to properly read the manuscript. Reading the manuscript more or less gives you the chance to have some control in terms of timing the speech down to seconds. But then again, we must be very clear with our words. Clarity is the key here. Clarity of expressions, clarity of words, the modulation of the voice. We talk about the volume here. We also do not compromise the expressions in our face. That is why it pays to also study that manuscript. For purposes of our public speaking class, your module contains a sample manuscript, the one from Benigno Aquino Jr. from this work entitled "The Filipino is Worth Dying For." That is just an excerpt. That's too short, but that's just used as an example. The actual material that you'll actually deliver is the one entitled "This I Believe" by Carlos P. Romulo. So two selections can be found in your modules. This I Believe, which is going to be graded, and the one by Benigno Aquino entitled "The Filipino is Worth Dying For." So how are you going to deliver this manuscript speech? You'll stand, of course. Ideally, you should stand. Take note, ideally, you should stand. In the actual classroom setup, a manuscript speech is delivered on a podium. I hope everybody knows what a podium is, or a rostrum. The speech will be placed there on the podium, and the podium can also regulate the chances by which your hands would actually shake. I'll turn my camera on. You would not want to carry a speech, your manuscript this way. You would not want to hold it this way, only to end up shaking while trying to speak. That will not make you look good. But since we are in this setup, it would follow that while you are delivering your manuscript speeches, you will be seated down, and you should place your speech somewhere where your eyes can see it right away. So in my case, if I were a student, I'll place my manuscript here. See, I'm placing it close to my laptop. I'll be placing it there so that I can look at the camera can see me, and I can just also, and the distance between my eyes and my copy is quite comfortable for my reading. I can still see clearly the words on the copy as well as my face on the camera. Not that I'm quite far from the camera. And my gestures can also be seen if I decide to add in some gestures. I just do not have a copy of Module 2. I don't know why I don't have a copy of Module 2. For instance, I'll read this by Benigno Aquino Jr. I assure you I haven't memorized this. I have not memorized this piece. Assuming that it's a manuscript speech, that it's my turn to deliver a manuscript speech. So more or less, it would look like this. The Filipino is worth dying for by Benigno Aquino Jr. I have asked myself many times, is the Filipino worth suffering or even dying for? Is he not a coward who would readily yield to any colonizer, be he foreign or homegrown? Is a Filipino more comfortable under an authoritarian leader because he does not want to be burdened? Because he does not want to be burdened. No, because the copy is in my laptop. I'm looking at the copy of notes. Notes. So it's more or less like that. You glance at the copy, look at the camera, because the camera is where your audience has situated themselves. Look at the copy again, look at the camera. Then try to balance the amount of time that you spend looking at the copy versus looking at the camera. Take note, the speech wasn't, that material isn't yours. That material of Benigno Aquino has just been given to you for a manuscript speech, for a manuscript delivery. Burden. No, it's really burden. Sorry. If I were you, I'd glance at the copy and then perhaps allot 1 or 2 seconds to look at the camera, and then look at the copy again, then look at the camera. For instance, I'll read the contents of my Practical Research 1 notes. Quantitative research is a type of research in which the researcher decides what to study, asks specific, narrow questions, collects quantifiable data from participants, analyzes these numbers using statistics, and conducts the inquiry in an unbiased, objective manner. See, what I did there was to create a balance with the amount of time that I've spent looking at the camera and glancing at my notes, at the speech. We do not just simply read from this, we just glance. We must not forget that there is a group of people looking at us, watching us, listening to us while we deliver that manuscript speech. And then you have the rest of the tips found in your notes. For instance, use a light pastel paper in place of white paper to lessen the glare from lights. This is quite subjective because it's just a matter of how the copy appeals to the reader. Make sure that the printed or written speech is in a bigger font size than normal so that you can comfortably see what you are reading, which would naturally keep you calm. Mark the pauses in your speech with a slash and highlight important points. So this is what I also said earlier. You are free to put the necessary marks on your copy so that you would know how to where to put the pauses, or what areas in what part of your speech you feel like saying it a bit louder than the other words, giving more emphasis to the words. Other tips you also have, you can even increase the spacing between words for easier reading. Highlight in bold the first word of a new section or first sentence of a paragraph to help you find the correct line faster. It's here. Number 6, don't try to memorize the text, highlights, or the pauses. Let it come in the flow of things. Practice reading several times or as many as you can. Try keeping a smile on your face while reading. I'd like that. Try keeping a smile on your face while reading. I tried doing it earlier when I read the definition of a quantitative research for you. Okay, let me try to do it again with qualitative research now. Qualitative research is a type of educational research in which the researcher relies on the views of participants, asks broad, general questions, collects data consisting largely of texts, describes and analyzes these words, and conducts the inquiry in a subjective, biased manner. I know. Of course, Angel. I also get Angel's point. Sir, what if it's a eulogy? What if it's a eulogy, sir? Also, it really makes sense. You can't really expect the person reading the eulogy to appear that way. We thank you for sharing your time with everybody, for the bereaved family of our grandfather. We can't express how grateful we are, if only, yeah, despite the tears that we are sharing together, we know that deep inside your hearts, Melby is laughing at me right now. Yes, Angel makes a good point there. This is, of course, quite circumstantial. That is why, if you look at the notes, it's just telling you to try to keep a smile. It did not really demand that you should smile all the time or that you should really smile all the way. But if you can bring a smile there, then why not? Like what is the first line in the work of Benigno Aquino? I have asked myself many times, is the Filipino worth suffering or even dying for? For instance, I have asked myself many times, is the Filipino even worth suffering or dying for? Compared to. I have asked myself so many times, is the Filipino worth even suffering or dying for? If I were to choose, I choose the one where I got the chance to smile. Is the Filipino, but it appears as though it's touched with sarcasm, no? Or yeah, like, is the Filipino even worth sacrificing or suffering for? It has quite a sass to it. Then again, it's a matter of circumstance. If the circumstance would allow us to do a smile, then why not? Next, keep in mind that a manuscript speech does not mean mere reading out. Maintaining frequent eye contact with the audience helps involving them into the subject matter. And most importantly, yes, this is not just for the manuscript speech, but this is for all public speaking activities and perhaps for everything. You practice, practice, and practice. There was one TOSP formation, I think it was in 2013. It was held in Bohol. My tita was the supposed speaker of that event. And then she changed her mind. She told me that she could not come 30 minutes before the actual event. However, her car arrived to the venue bringing a copy of her speech. And I asked one of the facilitators to read the speech for that leadership training. It was a 6-page speech. And the facilitator who read it grew tired reading it. I can't blame the facilitator because he did not have enough time to study the selection. the speech that he was supposed to read. My tita just got my tita was ready with it. It's just that she started not feeling well minutes before the actual event. And so that happened. So the facilitator of the activity did not have enough time to practice, and it led to the delivery of the material, which I should say, honestly, was not as good as how we hoped it to be delivered. Now, I'd like to give the chance to, especially that you have the manuscripts there of the Filipino is worth dying for. I'd like to hear from you how you are going to practice delivering that manuscript speech. It's just a sample. So again, at this point, I would not demand that you're going to stand up. But be sure that, wait, Juliana doesn't have it yet. Be sure though that the copy is close to you, or that the distance between the copy and your eyes is enough that you be able to read what's found in the copy. So, and then don't forget this. If you want to use it, then you can. Like, yeah, another thing, before I forget this. About that elevator speech that you did, let me just show you. Some of you did this in your elevator speeches, people. Why would you do this in your elevator speech? Please don't tell me that when you go inside an elevator, you are actually putting your hands this way. For sure, your hands have not been placed in this position once you enter an elevator. I don't know. I was bothered by it. I saw it in one, and I thought that was just it. I saw it in another video. Wait, so there's a reason when people do this in public speaking. And there's also an occasion that they use this style. But since during the elevator speech, you were told that you are to present a casual conversation for purposes of introducing a product, a company, a business, yourself, because you wanted to make friends with someone. Like in the case of IC, she brought a dog with her. She had a dog, and then she met someone who also owns a corgi. Make things appear casual. Rain brought with her a pot with a plant. See, that's how casual the elevator speech was supposed to go. I did not yet get why it had to be. It would have been better if it's just like this, like this, oh. But what I really saw was this, and I was so worried. Wait, have I told them to use this? I think I did not tell you to use this. Did I tell you to use this? I think I did not. Because the one clear instruction that I placed was that it should be casual. The conversation should be casual. So for this manuscript speech, there's no need for this one, huh? You don't need to do this. You just have to, for now, you can let go of this. You can let go of this. Manuscript speech, assume, it's okay. You are to assume that since you are placing your copy here, close to you, more or less this area serves as your podium as well. So it's going to appear like that. For instance, here's my copy. Here's the copy of my manuscript. I'm placing it here. Look, look, look. I'm placing it here. So where will my hands be? They will also be here. See? It's as if I have a podium where I am resting my hands. On that podium, I'm not resting my body. What I'm resting are merely my hands. So if I place my hands here, this is how I'm going to look like. Ready to proceed with the delivery of the manuscript speech. Again, my hands are here. My copy is here. such that if there are gestures that I should necessarily show, I can just bring up my hand. Like, research is significant in our everyday activities. It is the result of a thinking process, and it involves students in questioning techniques or models. See? The hands are easy to use. They're easy to locate. Because assuming the podium is here, that this is the podium and I placed my speech there, they're that close. And they can be seen right away by the camera. If only there's a podium, unless you have a podium at home. If you don't have a podium, then yeah, this will just be more or less how you're going to look like. Here's my computer. I'm placing my copy here. My hands are here. And then ready for the delivery. See, somewhere in the chest line up, I can be seen. If I use my hands, I can still be seen by the camera. And that's fine. Shall we give it a try? I hope some your other classmates can turn their camera on so that I can see you perform for purposes of a practice. By the way, the topic for the manuscript speech this time has an ST. There is now an ST for this, which is an Edmodo ST. I've already placed the ST in Edmodo. It just needs to be scheduled. I'd like to try listening to Chelsea. Work with the sample selection, the one entitled "The Filipino is Worth Dying For" by Benigno Ninoy Aquino Jr.
Sir, will I say the title?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
The Filipino is Worth Dying For by Benigno Ninoy Aquino Jr. I have asked myself for many times, is the Filipino worth suffering or even dying for? Is he not a coward who would read joke?
It's all right. Everybody goes through something like that.
Not claro pagka-print, manglog, sir.
Sorry.
It's not so well.
Wizards.
Yeah, that. It's true, yes, sir.
It's all right. It's all right, Chelsea. It's all right. It's all right. No big deal. It's no big deal. It's no big deal. It's all right. Let's try calling someone else. What about Fiona? You're on mute. You're on mute. There.
You can hear me?
Yeah. Go.
Okay. The Filipino is Worth Dying For by Benigno Aquino Jr. I have asked myself many times, is the Filipino worth suffering or even dying for?
Pause. You pause for a
Is he
while.
not
Pause.
a coward who would readily...
Pause. Anyway, this is just for a practice. To those who could to those who could clearly see Fiona, as well as for Chelsea earlier, have you noticed that at the time that they delivered the lines, they kind of tilted their head from side to side? I have no issues with that. Because that tells me that you kind of, like you're really projecting yourself there. Like, I have asked myself several times. However, there may come a time that we also need to regulate the movement of the head. We do not want our heads to also look like the dogs in a taxi. We do not want this to happen. But the tilting of the head that Fiona did is not, I don't know, but for me, I don't know with others, but for me, it didn't seem distracting at all. It seemed fine. So others can incorporate that technique or that style. If it's all right for you, Fiona, I'll call in someone else. So Fiona is crying now. It's all right, Fiona. You don't have to cry. You don't have to cry. I'd like to call Jaika. I hope Jaika can turn her camera on. Jaika.
Yes, sir. Wait, sir. Ano, may camera, sir.
Oh, aanuhin mo na naman ang camera mo. Sarah. Go, Jaika. Before you proceed, I hope you can also find the time to fix your hair so that they will not come out as a distraction later on when you deliver your speeches. This is not just for a manuscript speech, but this is for any public speaking activity that you. It was mentioned during the setting of rules that I have no issues when it comes to what your comfortable type of hair is. Just make sure that it will not prove as a distraction when the performances come. Go, Jaika. You're on mute. Go.
The Filipino is Worth Dying For by Benigno Noy Aquino Jr. I have asked myself many times, is the Filipino worth suffering or even dying for? Is he not a coward readily yield to any colonizer, be he foreign or homegrown? Is a Filipino more comfortable under an authoritarian leader because he does not want to be burdened?
Why? People, in public speaking, even if there's someone from the audience who's smiling or laughing at you, ignore. We can't really control everybody in the audience. I mean, what can you do if you are delivering a serious speech and someone is really showing his or her teeth smiling at you? So Jaika was kind of this. Who distracted you there from your delivery, Jaika? Who was the cause of distraction?
No one, sir.
So tumawa ka lang ng ala, very good. Let's also try to look into how juncture works. Juncture is the pausing. That is why it was highly suggested that you put in some marks, identification marks on your paper to tell you, go, God bless you, Leija, to tell you where to make your pauses. The video caught you sneezing. So that you can tell yourselves where you are going to pause. Like for instance, you'll put a bar or a slash after a word because that you now think that that is where a pause should be inserted. And then you'll put in another slash after another set of words to indicate a pause. Feel free to do that to your copies because then again, they will guide you on how to properly read the material. I'd like to call one more perhaps. What about, I'd like to call one of the boys. And as of this time, only one among the boys has made his camera visible to us. John, it's pointless for you to try to hide yourself. Go, John. JN, go. Go, John. John. John Abiliana. John Abiliana. You're still on mute. He knows that he's still on mute. There.
I know.
Go.
The Filipino is Worth Dying For by Benigno Ninoy Aquino Jr. I have asked myself many times, is the Filipino worth suffering or even dying for? Is he not a coward
Why? What happened? Yes, John. What happened there, John? Diyan, nabilihan na.
I
Sige,
bit
John.
my tongue.
Did you bite your tongue? Okay. I would suggest I don't know if others have felt it, but it seemed like there was some form of stiffness coming from how the words came out. I think it has something to do with the issue that you told me, with the condition of your tongue that you told me last night. That's also something that you can minimize by the time you have developed your chances to practice on the selection, or on any selection for that matter. So on Thursday, as time's already reaching 2:30, on Thursday, what's going to happen is we are going to check the FTs. And after checking the FTs, everybody will be given the chance to again use the Filipino is worth dying for as an example. I really have to listen to each of you. And if possible, please turn your cameras on so that I can also see you deliver your manuscript speeches. That will be all for now. Goodbye and thank you, grade 10.
Goodbye.
And
Goodbye.
thank
And
you,
Bye.
Sir
And
Sim.
thank you, Sir Sim.
That is really
Goodbye,
true,
sir.
Hazel.
Adios.
That's what we are hoping for.